Okay, we're here, Nolan Myers and April Malone, with some Q&A about the Handbook publishing process. Please go on, April.
Okay, so I'm here under the Hello World section. I need to add my post, and I was just wondering, what's the difference between using Web IDE and then coming here to the plus sign and adding, let's say, a new branch, a new file? Because yesterday when I was attempting to do this on my own, my first thought was to come here to add my page, and I was assuming to add it as a new file. For someone else coming on board, they may have that same process. So there's no difference?
No, you can do it either way. Really, it's a question of the interface that you like. The difference is that in the Web IDE, you'll have a split screen where you have the directory structure on the left, and you can have multiple files open at the same time on the right and be able to sort of manage multiple files. So if you're making a change that is going to span multiple files, it's going to be much easier to do that in the Web IDE. If you want to just do something that involves just a single file, then you can do it directly from here. Either way, you can make all the same changes in either way. It's just a question of which interface is going to be a little bit more convenient for you to be able to navigate the repository and make the change.
Okay, understood. So I'm going to attempt to create my first Hello World. I'm going to click Web IDE. And then from here, this is where it gets muddy for me because again, I haven't done this before. So would I click New File?
Yep, you might want to make sure that you're navigating into the Hello World directory and actually create a new file in there.
Okay, so new file right here, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then April, and then you said it has to be .md, is that right?
.md is the way, is the right thing to do. And what that does is it basically tells that processor that this is a Markdown file and that it's going to, as it's creating the published version, it'll take the Markdown and convert it to HTML. But this way it knows that the file is written in Markdown. And that's similar to, if you have a Word doc file, it has a .doc extension on it. The extension is just a way of letting a computer know what type of content is in the file.
Okay, that's good context. That puts it in perspective for me. Okay, so I'm going to create file. I already have, I added bullet points here, but let me change it. Here we go. And then any line is fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to change the spacing because I'm a little picky about that. Is there a way to change the spacing? Okay, you just hit enter, I guess. Okay.
Now up at the top, you see where it says you can say preview Markdown. I recommend just taking a look at what it will look like. So this will actually show you what it's going to look like in the HTML.
Ooh,
and
yeah.
So you'll learn there are some intricacies around there are some things that are going to be helpful to understand the translation between Markdown and HTML as you become more sophisticated with this. What I would suggest for now is not get too much into that because that'll bring us into the question of how to format Markdown, and I'd like to bring that as a separate lesson. But what I would suggest for this, just put a prefix in front of each of these lines and let's make these bullets for right now.
Okay.
So if you go to the front, just put you can do an asterisk or a hyphen either way.
Okay.
And then a space, sorry.
Oh, and then
asterisk space. And do for the next line as well. And now preview the Markdown and just see what that looks like.
Okay, that works. I'm wondering if I can do something like that. Nope. So I was trying to keep them together because these two belong together. So I'm thinking for this layout, for me, I may just go with this if it works.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
And I think what you're seeing here are both some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses of Markdown. Markdown is very simple and allows you to do some basic formatting very easily. You can see you're not adding a lot of text or context around this to make it work, but it also has some limitations in that it's, in terms of it's only going to allow certain formatting pretty easily. And
Yeah,
that's why
I
that
see.
preview markdown is going to be very helpful.
I know it's going to take a while for me to add the, to learn how to, or to remember to add the spacing too. But I guess the color coding is what helps with this, how it turns purple.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one of the things that I really appreciate about a handbook first policy is that as people get into it, the more we become practiced at it, the more we will all, it creates an incentive for us to try the simplest possible thing first and get it published and then add more context later.
There we go.
Great.
So that works. Okay.
Let's ship it.
All
So let's
right.
publish your Hello World page.
Commit. And then commit to master branch, right?
And why do you choose, do you remember why to choose that option over the create a new branch?
So commit to master branch will publish it immediately, right? Whereas create a new branch won't. Is that right?
Right. The create a new branch is what you'll use if you want to collaborate with somebody on it. But if you know that you want to just publish this directly, then you can commit to master.
Got it. Okay.
There you go.
And it's processed. Great. Now to see it.
So let's go check. Yeah, let's go check and make sure it published.
Okay, and this is the part I don't remember where to go to.
I would just go over to this other tab. So rather than navigating away from it, I would suggest you go, you see up here, you have the handbook overview. You have a different tab up here.
Oh, yeah, I can't see it because Zoom is blocking it.
Got it.
There we go.
Yeah, I would just go there and then refresh. And it should show up.
Yay.
And there you go.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Now, definitely sometimes this the formatting of this page will look a little bit different than the formatting on the preview that you have from GitLab. So it's always a good idea to go and check your work on this page.
Okay. And you know, this may not be relevant to ask right now, but who manages the pages? Let's say after an employee leaves, who manages those pages?
That's a great question. We don't have an official process around offboarding employees yet. That's something that we need to create.
Okay. I was
yes,
just
because
curious.
no, but I think that it's actually good, and I think that actually would be a great. The way that I would think about that is actually say, hey, there's a process that we're lacking here, and we should use the handbook first process to propose who should do that. Is that my responsibility? Is that somebody else's responsibility? Is it the manager's responsibility who managed the employee who has left? I think there are a variety of different ways that we could solve that, and I think anybody in the company can propose a solution to it. You know, for instance, you're seeing here that Dennis, he's left the company, he's no longer with us. And so, but we didn't have a process that said, hey, we need to remove his page from the handbook. So that's actually a great example of a way that we can get just a little bit better. That's not all that complicated. It just requires somebody saying, here's what the process should be.